I'm doing this video series because there is a 19.1 version of Apex now. I have a complete video series for Oracle Apex 18.1, and the current series will use Apex 19.1 and will follow in parallel with the same steps in the 18.1 series. So I have for software this time XE 11.2, Apex 19.1, SQL Developer 19.1. I will not walk through the steps of installing XE and upgrading to Apex 19.1. You can look at the previous video series and this particular video, Apex 00 of 30, if you want a demonstration of how to install XE and upgrade Apex. The steps of going from Apex 18.1 to 19.1 are the same. So if you want to work along, you can download and install Oracle XE 11.2, or you can use the most current version, which I do not have installed. You can download Oracle Apex 19.1 and go through the steps of upgrading to that. The one other thing that I have is I have also installed a translated version of Apex for Spanish. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the documentation. It's pretty simple to follow and pretty easy to do. But it's not quite as simple as I've seen on a few posts online. It's not just a matter of selecting a different language. You do have to install a set of support files, images, and other things that will provide the translated version of Apex. Once you've done that, then when you log in and go to, in my case, the local install of Oracle Apex, I can pick between Spanish and English. So if I look at my version of the database, as I told you, if I run this, then I can see that I do have 11.2 installed. I can go to SQL Developer Help About and see that I'm working with version 19.1. So let's get started. In this video, which is the last video I plan to make in the Apex 19.1 series, we will take another look at the data model and remind ourselves of what needs to be done in the application. We have not addressed how we're going to handle the core processes, which is transactions related to animals, transactions such as intake to the shelter, transfer from the shelter, or placement in a home, and the activities such as medical treatment, grooming, or training related to the animals. So we're going to create master detail reports and forms. We'll create stacked side-by-side and drill down just to look at how those appear, and you could pick from those what you want to use for transactions and activities. So let's take a look at the data model. So we have many forms and reports already in our application, but we have not dealt with activities and with transactions. We need to deal with these two tables in their relationship to animals. So I'm going to log into Apex in the animal shelter as the developer Carlo Mora. I'm going into Application Builder and into the development application. I want to create a page. It'll be master detail, and I'll start with stacked. I will let Apex number the page. I'm going to call this Animal Transactions. Create a new navigation item that will be under Animals. So in the master region, I'm going to say Animal Info. Then for table, I will select Animals. And the primary key column is Animal ID, which is off the screen outside the recording area. I'll take the defaults on what's displayed. I'll click Next. And then the detail region would be Transaction Detail. I would have to create another one of these master details to handle animal activities, the things such as grooming and medical treatment. So I'm going to select transactions. Primary key column is trans ID. What is the relationship between animal and transaction? It's based on the primary key animal ID in animal and the foreign key animal ID in transactions. So I'll click create. I'll just save that and run that. And I have a problem here because I've got a field for an image, which is a blob data type, and I need to remove that from the initial grid interface, which is kind of like a spreadsheet. So over here on the left-hand side, I'll select columns, and then I'll right-click on animal pick, and I'll simply remove it. I'm just removing it from the display of that initial screen. It doesn't affect anything in the database. So let's save that and run that. And so now it runs. What we have right now is a display of all the animal rows. I can pick one of these items, and when I do, I'll see the related transaction detail, which there might not be any. So let's try Jake and scroll down, and we see the related transaction, which was the intake for Jake. What I want to do though is limit the number of rows in this top portion of the page. So I'm going to edit page 32, and I will go to the attributes of the region, and under pagination I want page instead of scroll, and I can save that and run that. So I'm still seeing many rows. In this case it's cut down to 12, but I can come to actions. We've done this before. When I have that set to page, actually I think it's under format, I can do rows per page, and I want just 5 rows. That way on a single screen my space is a little more limited than your screen probably is, but I can see more of the details section, and I can obviously see more if I even limit that to a particular record. So I'm going to do Liam. I think I have a dog. Yes, so here's Liam, and I see his intake transaction record. But notice that Liam is not listed in the first page. So when I do a search, I'm getting a search of all the records for the animals, not just the page that's being displayed. So there are other things we would want to do here. We don't want to display a number for status ID or a number for dominant breed. I'll do this once in this particular report, but I won't do it for every master detail that we look at. So Dom breed, I'm going to select that on the left hand side and then say that I want a select list. Scroll down, it's in the shared components, and I want to get the dominant breed LOV, and I can save that. And for status ID, I want the select list. From shared components, I want the LOV for animal status. That's off the screen for my recording area. But I could save those and run that, and I'll see the names instead of just the text. This would display better on a full screen. It's a little scrunched given my recording area. But that's master detail for animal transactions. I could do another one for animal activities. I want to look at one of the other options for master detail. So I've come back to Page Designer, and I want to create a page. It'll be master detail, and this time it'll be side by side. And we've done this before. We've done other master details in earlier videos. So I'm going to select animal activities. Let's see, I'm going to say, actually I'm going to do animal info and click next and create a navigation item under the animals subsection. The master table is animals. And primary display column, I'll pick the category and then ID. And then for the detail table, I'm going to pick transaction. But notice I automatically get the option to add another detail section. So I like this particular layout because I can have multiple detail sections associated with the master record. So I'll do activities and then I'll click create. I will save that and I'll run that. So we've looked at this master detail format before, and I've shown you how you can expand the search. Right now it will only search based on the two things I said to display, and I think I only get two options if I recall right. So let's say I want to look at canine 1005. Maybe I've got one too many zeros. And I select that on the left-hand side. Also, let me remind you that in our production application, I have the menu items across the top. That would also be more beneficial for this particular layout because I'm not losing as much screen space by having the navigation and the search feature on the left-hand side. But I'm seeing this particular animal record, and then down below I see transactions and I see activities. If I want to edit this transaction, I'm going to get what we call a modal form. So it pops up in the screen and dominates the screen until I either cancel, delete, or apply changes. And you can edit this particular page. You can make modifications so that you don't have a single row for each field. Simply edit this particular page, which is in this case page 35. So you have to have the form open in order to identify which page that you want to edit. And then I can look at the activities and I see it's page 36. So again, I can add my LOVs, I can change the layout and make it more compact. I really like this particular master detail layout because I'm seeing both transaction and activities for a particular animal. So now let's go back to our application or page designer and let's do the third option, which is create a page. It'll be master detail. It'll be drill down. And this will be animal activities. The detail section will be activity detail. Create a navigation item. I'll select animal as the master, animal ID, and the navigation order I'm going to pick category and click next. Then for the detail section, see this progress map at the top? I will pick activities. Notice we're only getting the related tables, which is exactly what we want. The primary key is activity ID, and the foreign key relationship is animal ID from animals, the primary key, to animal ID, the foreign key, in activities. And I click create, and I can save and I can run that. So I have an interactive report here where I would need to click edit in order to move to the detailed information about that animal. So at the top I'm seeing the individual record in animals for Jake, and below that I'm seeing the related activity data. Now I can come back and edit this. I had said I wasn't going to do it, but I'll do something here real quick. I'll turn on the animal ID as display only. That's off the screen, but I want to see my primary key. And then I'm going to pick category, new row, no, primary color. Actually, I'm going to move, category is sequence 20. I'm going to make name sequence 22 and then say new row no. Primary color, that's fine. Mix, new row no. Adult size, new row no. Sex, house trained, I'll say house trained, new row no. Spayed neutered, new row no. And chip number, new row no. Jump to age, new row no. Seeing the change in the layout. Date created, date modified. You might not even want those displayed, but I'll leave them there, but new row no. Now I want dominant breed to come up here. Let's see, I'll put dominant breed after name. So name is 22, dominant breed. I'm looking at sequence over here. So I'm going to make that 24. Now we have dominant breed. And then I'll do animal pick, 26. New row no. And status. I'll move that up to I'll move that up beside name. So if name is 22 and I've already used 24 on status, I'll make it 21. Let's see. And while I'm here, dominant breed, select list, shared component, dominant breed. For status, select list, shared component, animal status. And there'll be one other thing I want here, because this animal pick gives us the ability to upload a picture. It does not display the picture, so we did this once before, many videos back. I'm going to right-click on items and add a page item that will allow me to display the animal picture. You don't want to show the picture when you're doing a page that's laid out like a spreadsheet, but when you have a single record display, it would be nice to see the animal picture. So I'm going to create a page item here, and over on the right-hand side, while that is selected, I will call this picture, and that data type is going to be display image. Then I need to come down here and do the, let's see, I think it's the source. Its type is database column, and this is case sensitive, I'm pretty sure. So it's animal pick is the actual column name. Save that. Let's see. I guess before I jump to anything, I'll go ahead and put this. I'm going to put it up here by category. So category is 20. And I've got 21. And I've got 20. So I'll put it beside name, which is 22. So I'll come down here and do the picture. And the sequence is that on that is going to be 23. And see if that gets me what I want in terms of layout. And I'll say start new row. No, let's try it. So I'm seeing a much more compact display, but I don't have any data. So let me go back to animal activities. Let me pick Jake. I don't know if he's got a photo or not. Doesn't have a picture, but I see his related activities. Let's see. Maybe Tori? Yes. So here we have Tori with her picture, and she doesn't have any related activity data. So 3 options on how to work with the master detail relationship, the data that's tied in an animal record to a transaction, an animal record to an activity. So let me once again remind you that I have other YouTube playlists. I have one for Apex 18.1, which has 30 videos, and there are really only a few changes that you'll see when you're working with 18.1 versus 19.1. So you could watch the 18.1 videos that go beyond what I've done here and still apply them to what you've done or want to do in 19.1. More importantly, I have some SQL videos that correspond to topics in the 18.1 and the same topics in the 19.1 series. So if it says Apex 19.104, then you'll see the same general topics covered in the 18.1 series, which is named Apex 04. If you want to see the SQL, it's Apex 04. .sql 01 for the first video. If there's a second, it'll be 02. I've taken the same approach for the database. So I've tried to use a consistency in the naming. So if you're interested in knowing more about the underlying database or SQL used in a particular video, then you can look these up. You can simply go to the Apex 18.1 all videos listed playlist, and you can see the SQL and database videos that correspond to these topics. Not every video has a corresponding SQL or database video, but several of them do, and they could be very useful if you're not clear on why I'm doing the things I'm doing in the database and how the SQL executes. So I hope the video series has been helpful. Good luck in your application development.